I'm Nick Schillingford. I'm a member of Socialist Alternative in Minneapolis. I'm a delegate to the 2012 National Conference of Socialist Alternative, and I'm here with Danny Keating, member of Socialist Alternative in New Hampshire. He's going to be running for District 2 Congress position. We're attempting to get signatures to run for that position in New Hampshire in this year's election. Nice to have you, Danny.
Thank you, Nick.
How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. What a great national conference, and I'm glad I made it out here to Minneapolis.
So what's going to be necessary to actually run in the election? How many signatures do you have to get? That kind of thing.
We need 1,500 signatures by August 8th, and to be realistic, probably 2,000 or 3,000 for how many they might kick aside.
Kick some out. Okay.
Yes.
And so, are you planning to get those door to door, or how are you going to get all those signatures you need to get, or you got?
I'm hoping a bit of both. I'm hoping to get, using our members of Socialist Alternative, contacts we've made in Occupy, Greens, and other people around the state who are open to our ideas to come out and volunteer, both knocking on doors and going into high traffic areas to talk to working class people.
So, have you ever run for office before? Or?
Actually, yes. In 2006, I ran for state representative in District 25 in New Hampshire and lost by 68 votes.
How many votes were cast altogether?
670 something.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive. So what do you think is the most exciting thing or the most likely thing you could achieve out of a campaign for Congress you'd run in New Hampshire this year?
Right now, the bourgeois media is completely dominating the discussion with the two candidates and their ideas of what people care about right now. And what they're talking about is not what's on the mind of working people. They're not talking about jobs, they're not talking about education, they're not talking about our future, they're talking about their own narrow capitalist interests. And I think we need a candidate out there that represents working people, that can actually put forward the ideas that working people want to hear, and the ideas of socialist alternative, not only to a thin layer of Occupy people, but to a much larger layer of people hungry for these ideas.
And you think there's a lot of those people in New Hampshire?
I guarantee it.
There's a huge gap in the political arena, from what I understand, as far as left candidates go? Or?
As far as left candidates goes, there's a huge gap, and also the mass disenfranchisement. I mean, I don't know how it is in your state, various states, but we know that voting is on the decline. In 2008, we saw, the largest record voting for Obama in history, and then in 2010, we saw the lowest voting in my city in 50 years, I think, with something like 13 or 17% of people turning out to vote.
Well, right here in Minnesota, where we are right now, there's a voter ID amendment on the books, or that's going to be voted on to be put into the Constitution in Minnesota this year, basically making it a lot more stringent, a lot stricter and harder to actually go and vote. Here in Minnesota, it's actually pretty easy to go and vote. You live there, you can have somebody vouch for you, you can bring a piece of mail, you can register at the polls. They want to really tighten that up. You got to have up-to-date ID. You got to be in the state for so long before you can vote. They're going to extend that. So it's really a way to disenfranchise, especially African-American, Latino, immigrant voters and things like that. Yeah, so that's something we're fighting against here, and I'm glad you're going to give a voice to a lot of these things. So it's nice to chat with you, Danny.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, take care.
You're asking what is socialism and what it really means. It's equal rights for every man, regardless of his strength. So don't let no one